Good morning and welcome. And as I sit walking around in my loafers, I don't think they're called loafers, and I am tired and grumpy, we will begin to talk about a new day. I find it fascinating, this weight loss thing. It's very, very bizarre. 1 minute I am losing weight, and next minute I am steady. And the one thing I notice is if I overeat, it's just a weird, I don't know. I guess I just stay the same weight, and maybe I gain weight by 500 grams or something like that, and it's not too much of a dramatic change. And every time I do overeat, I sit there and I wonder, why aren't I gaining any weight? And the funny part is that yesterday I rolled up an entire pizza. So I made pizza from scratch, and I slapped together with some cheese and some pesto and some broccoli or whatever, with some sauce even. And it was a very thick base too, so it wasn't skimping out on the thickness of the base at all. And on top of that, I had I think coffee and an energy drink and some. Well, I guess that was about it. I mean, I didn't eat anything. Well, I had nuts and some sultanas and whatnot, but I didn't eat anything else after the pizza, and I didn't eat the entire pizza. But even still, I was wondering why I hadn't gained any weight this morning. And in fact, I lost weight, so I was 6 or something like that, and then the scale says 86 or like 86.2, and then I also wonder, is the scale broken because I feel bloated? And I don't know, I look in the mirror, am I bloated? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, I don't understand. Well, I do understand, and that is, in the past I would basically eat that pizza, and I would eat chips and chocolate and soda and cake, and it will all be in the one day, in the one session. And I would just snack on all this garbage, and if I felt like a second meal, I would make a second meal, and it would be like a pasta, and it would be loaded with meat and cheese, and so it wouldn't just be like a few slices of pizza. I'd say I'd ate like a little bit more than half yesterday of that of the pizza, and I did distract myself a lot yesterday, so I didn't really feel the need to eat anything. But I didn't want to eat the entire thing either, and because I was extremely full, and we've been trying our best not to eat wheat in a certain way. So that way being dense bread. So we don't eat rolls, we don't eat slices of bread, we don't have pasta at the moment. No one has pasta, we don't eat pasta at all. And because I find myself, if I have the one slice or two slices of bread, I'm not eating that much, I'm eating the whole bag basically. And so yeah, realistically, we haven't been doing that for many months. The only thing we have been doing is buying these wraps, so they're quite thin, flattened out. I don't know, you could it could be the equivalency of slices of bread, I don't know, but it's just, I'm not going to justify it, but yeah, it's the only thing that we've been really having when we have wheat. Other than now we just started to, make pizza randomly. Not every day. Like last year, every day it was just like pizza. And I try my best to have some sort of, I don't know, I guess vitamin. So basically I'll have fruits and vegetables as well, but I'll have it in like a smoothie or some sort of juice blendy thing, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I find it kind of a little bit odd, the weightless thing. It's very, very slow this time. I'm not rushing, I'm not exercising every single morning and on a treadmill this time. I'm not going for walks, I'm not doing this and that. I'm just basically just going with the flow and eating less. And obviously I don't include all the nasty stuff and haven't been for a while. And I think that's what helps. And I think it's everyone's fear to have to wait so long to lose weight. Because it's just like, I want to lose it now, I want it now. And, it's just this mentality we have in society that people want everything here and now. But yeah, when people slip into a weight loss, hopefully a lifestyle change, it would just happen on its own, which is what I find. I can't force myself sometimes to do that. And then the time's obviously gone by, and this time I didn't monitor how long it's been, but I know it's obviously been like a few months. It's probably been 4, I don't know. But usually when I track how long it's been, I set myself up for failure, because I'm usually waiting for the month to go by, and at the end of the month, failure. It usually takes a month for me to fail, but this time, nothing. So, I mean, I feel like certain things randomly, but not like chocolate or anything like that. It's one thing I wouldn't mind hosting in this small community that we have in the region that we live in. I wouldn't mind hosting some sort of community horror movie night. The region does have little cinemas where they will host old classic films, but I wouldn't mind doing one where it's like horror movies or movies that aren't shit. But we have an age in the community, so obviously the movies are going to be very niche and unique and not for the modern man or not for the younger generation. I do like old films though, but I can be selective at times. I have to be in the mood for a classic film, which I don't know that it's classic at the time, I don't know, but to them it's a classic. But whatever, it's a bold statement. But yeah, there's a lot of things I wouldn't mind doing. Obviously we want to have it would be nice to host like a Switch tournament or gaming room or whatever in the local community, and yeah, it would be nice to do like tournaments of like Super Smash Brothers or something like that, where people just hang out. Like I've been invited to a few, and I've been to a few because of a mate, so in the past. It's fun. Yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah. Hosting little things could be cool. And we just hosted a community garage sale, where many people opened up a garage sale for the day, and people could go around to each and every one, and I don't know, it was exciting. And soon I'm gonna try and go camping, caravanning, and stay somewhere for a couple of nights, because it's been a bit of a while. Getting on that road and travelling around, as we're pretty much effectively stuck here for a bit. I want to get on the bus and everything too. We don't have a day bus. Technically we do, but they won't take us all on there, or let us all on, but that's once a week. We do have a daily bus, but that's around 5 in the morning, so I find it hard right now to get up. And right now, as it's like after 6 and the bus is gone, and I only just got up, I already missed it, so. And the fare is quite cheap if you're getting on the bus by yourself, but if you're taking the entire family with you, it's about 5 times as much, and that's one way, and then you get back, and that's another 5 times the amount. And if you travel around as well, when you go to the city, that costs, you're docked for that too, like with your Myki. I think they still use Myki. You're docked for that as well, so that's times 5 the amount. Eventually it could add up to the petrol money, but that's a bit dramatic. I don't think it would. Last time I went on the bus was $5.30 for a concession, each person. So realistically, that's relatively cheap. That's about, I guess, $50 there and back. And also then we have to pay for a taxi, because our bus service doesn't actually run through during the day and drop us off on the side of the road, aside the fact that we do have bus stops which buses go past and actually go to the next town. And that's something we're trying to argue with V-Line, and believe it or not, I think it's about progress and how small the town is and whatnot. I might actually dedicate an entire hour just reading on my town, because my town doesn't have a shop anymore. It doesn't have butchers. It doesn't have... the community is essentially broken down here. Not completely, but it's stripped of its old lifestyle it used to have, so it's no longer a biggish town. And I think I will chase up some documents, because eventually I wouldn't mind making a documentary on the town. But at the moment I think I will just document it with my mouth. I feel like I'm progressing with skateboarding, but at the same time, every time I get injured, it sort of takes me a step back. And I haven't been to the skate park for about 3 days now, so I'm a little worried that if I try to drop into the ramps, I'm just going to have all that fear again. And my wrist has had a good rest, and it's starting to feel... it's got that weird pain where you know you're in pain underneath, but you don't feel it on the physical outer layer. But you know that if you fall on that again, it's just going to hurt, like, a lot. And that's how I feel right now. And so I'm afraid that if I fall on it again, and I can fall from anything, little stones at the skate park can make me fall. And I do think that it's up to the council to clean it up, at least once a week. Because it does get extremely screwed up. And I know a lot of people don't go to the skate park, and I know a lot of people that even when they don't go to the skate park, they don't tend to bring a broom and sweep it up. And I have seen a lot of things there at multiple skate parks, and some of the stuff includes glass and lots of rubbish and lots of leaves and debris and everything like that. So it does need to clean up a lot, and when you go there a lot, you're the one that notices the mess all the time, so they become unkept, I would say. On the other thing too, we have a skate park down the road from us, and we've noticed that every morning not every morning, sorry, that's dramatic. A lot of the time, when we go there in a morning session, and this will be early, they have sprinklers pretty much right next to the cement of it, and this is to water the grass in the area. And it is very frustrating, and it is something that we have tried to talk to the council about, and they just don't care, and to this day they've obviously continued to do so. But this is in the school hours, or the time period when kids go to school, and we're supposed to be on water restrictions, so that, the funny thing that I've noticed too, to sidetrack here, you go into these little towns, and most of the settlement, most of the people's nature strips, are very dry at the moment. And all the while the parks, the CFA, and all of the little buildings that own the little towns, the kings and queens of the town, all their grass is green. And we're supposed to be on a water restriction. We're supposed to be managing our water correctly. And oftentimes I go there and I see their sprinklers are on, and during the hot season as well, just to try and keep their grass up. Now, this is for tourism mainly, and it always leads up to, the holidays and people coming down every weekend, and most of everything that we see in the small towns is based on tourism, and the more tourism you get, the more progress you get, it seems. The more tax the councils receive, the more they can add more, believe it or not, more things for tourism. And eventually, when they add pockets of things for tourism, they eventually build more houses, and then they still increase things for tourism. More houses, tourism. More houses, tourism. And eventually it becomes less of a tourist town, I guess. I guess so. I don't know. You got places like Dandenong and Springvale, and I'm trying to think of suburbs in Melbourne. People aren't just waking up one day and saying, I can't wait to go to Dandenong. Maybe to get out there and go to a fancy skate park or something like that, I don't know. But you know what I mean. So I guess in theory, or you could theorize that tourism increases the progress in townships, and then eventually the town has its own economy to the point where they don't need much tourism anymore. But I can't say that's 100% true, because you have places like Ballarat, which is still, I would consider, a tourist town, place to go to for specific things like the gold rush, gold mining, the gold place, I don't know what it's called, there's little things that continue to have people go there. I mean, that's, they could still make their economy that way, as well as through taxes with the progress that I was talking about. But a lot of the things, it's not necessarily the locals that get a say about it, but mostly the tourists that come from far and wide. And they come from far and wide. They come from Western Australia, they come from New South Wales, they come from Queensland, they come from Canberra, they come from ACT or whatever, they come from Tasmania. So they come across the broad and they pick their little tourist place they like to go to, and that's by the millions. So each town will have enough revenue from tourism just based on that alone, and that increases towns as well. And the more you increase towns, the more opportunity there is for immigration and bringing people in and spreading, and then revenue and an economy and all this type of crap. But there's not much say for a local. Like, for example, there's one cafe that most of the locals go to when there isn't, when it isn't flooded by tourists. And there was a petition at this cafe, and the petition was to limit the parking to 2 hours in front of the cafe, because during COVID, I think it was, people would park there all day, and the tourists wouldn't be able to stop and actually allow the cafe to make more money. And I went in there and had my say, and I asked her what the petition was, and she said this and this and this. I said, what about the locals? You're neglecting the locals and people who have to go off to Melbourne and need a spot to park at, and or people who like to spend their day there, who live around the region. What about them? You're willing to have a 2-hour limit and then potentially fine them and police that type of thing. Well, it's not really needing to police, it's more like you'll get the fine and it'll be through a letter or whatnot, so realistically it's whatever. What about them? And since then I haven't really seen any progress to do with the 2-hour parking issue, and that's been more than a year, so I don't know. I think they were mainly losing money during the time period where small businesses were at risk due to COVID. But in my opinion, these small businesses sort of did it to themselves, because they neglected the community spirit, and there's a lot of people who would have rejected the idea, or the ideas that happened during COVID, and this effectively cost businesses money, and they had to adhere to some rules, and then therefore they had to punish people, as customers, realistically. the end result, in my opinion, is that small businesses would go out anyway. So punishing the customer really is a bit of a stupid thing to do, because I think the only plan for government was to close people down. A lot of people are still in business. I mean, that's what I'm saying is really, whatever. But there are a lot of businesses that have gone out and gone bust. And a lot of them, too, because of rent increases when they are, I don't know, borrowing the building, I guess I could say, and they're not making enough revenue to actually pay the rent to begin with. Because some of them are community-based businesses, so they're not-for-profits almost, but they need a building to actually host these community places where they actually share fresh produce and freshly baked goods and this and that. And we had one of those in the region. They got shut down due to rent increase, and the place that basically took over was a 24-hour gym, which is pretty gross in my opinion. But anyway, I'm sure I've talked about this before, and I'll just quickly talk about gardening. Right now I've basically self-destructed some garden beds, because I'm not too much of a fan of garden beds, and it's just a bunch of wood scrap that's just sitting there and it's just rotting away and it's gross, and I haven't really used garden beds in a while anyways. I'm more of a person now that grows on the ground, or tries to anyway, because I haven't had many issues, and I have created some sort of diverse system and slowly creating diversity in the garden, whereby I'm not just growing crops like lettuce and pumpkins and all that. I'm actually considering long-term plants like berries and grapes and fig trees and apple trees and different types of herbs and flowers, trying to create a very not well thought out, just a very much a cluster in my garden, and trying to do more of a permaculture style of gardening, so it has permanency into the future, and it's very exciting when you actually see your trees and plants bear some fruit and vegetables and seeds, and you realize that you can have a little bit more patience when it comes to gardening. It's peaceful and calming and just to rebuild the earth, but on the other hand it's worrisome, because it could all burn to the fucking ground and then you have nothing and you have to start again, and then eventually it will see us living in a town just to have that peaceful garden, and just to have it be alive and have no fear about it fucking all going to the ground. But anyway, it's slowly coming together. I find it hard to get mulch and find it hard to get this and that, but I have enough property now I could just rake it up every now and then, and I'm slowly building it up. It's the first time in a long time I'm actually putting everything on the ground, so all the food scrap and all the compost and everything, just letting it rebuild the soil and watching all these things seed and grow in there. So far I've had success in 3 different fresh compost I'm getting things that are starting to seed, and this is, from all the seeds that are from all the fruits and everything. They're coming up on the ground now. It's just amazing, and I love it. And with that, I bid you good day. Thank you for listening. I am out.